winners and losers of this game match up with the winners and losers of, I think, a top 3 ranked Roseville team later. And in my opinion, the second best team in the state that we've seen all year in Osseo Maple Grove Black. So win or lose tonight, we will see another phenomenal team early tomorrow morning. And I've told everybody that ask about this, I would not be surprised by a regional championship for Wayzata Gold, nor a early exit tomorrow. Certainly hoping and cheering for the former. Not without its challenges. Of course, those of you that followed along, Cole is still out and will be for the whole season. He has got, unfortunately, a partner on the sidelines in Altschul.
I think told you can do this, right? Someone said we can't do it, but no one's.
Here, just talking to one of my broadcasting counterparts from Maple Grove that said that we're not supposed to stream this, so I guess we'll find out the hard way. If I suddenly disappear, it's maybe because it's not legal for me to do this, so we'll see what comes of that. Anyways, I was about to say Everett Altschul have some residual back pain from an injury last year, and he is out, and I think 3 or 4 of the boys are out. We're out sick most of the week, so we do have 13 skaters today, and I'll let this go to the PA. Did I tell you about the Laffy Taffy tax to sit here, though? All right, welcome back from the PA. We got 15 fresh minutes. And maybe within a minute here of face-off. As a reminder, a Maple Grove-Roseville matchup following this game will determine tomorrow's winners. The winners of this one and the winners of that one will play tomorrow morning. The losers of that one and the losers of this one will play tomorrow morning. It's a double elimination tournament with the top team and the second team moving on to state. Everybody is in a double elimination. Kanan, Homstall, and Brown are your forwards. Jeffers and Wilson back with a short-handed crew. It's uncertain how we're going to rotate here today as several kids are out. A quick whistle there when the puck was not settled, and a gift early as the puck was loose on the crease. Kanan back on the draw. A little early pressure from the Trojans. Kanan wins, breaks to Brown. Held up at the blue line, but turned around in Lakeville South. The Cougars, I believe, with their first zone possession. Puck worked around. Kanan breaks free. Tries to flip one through. Has it out to Homstall, and Homstall on it. Lakeville goalie comes out, plays that one off nicely as pressure persists here. Looks like Meade will center the second line here. My guess is just a two-man center rotation. Brown tries to work one out. Meade gets involved, and Prentice now regroups. Back around the outside as LaRose is there, broken up by the Lakeville skater who dumps it in. Shot up top. Save and exit here by Wilson, and Meade breaks out with it up the near side, pokes one through and recovered by Lakeville South. As Clavin now in along with LaRose at forward, and Meade is your center. Hasselfeld, typically a center of one of the lines, picking up one of the defensive spots. Puck doesn't exit, and Lakeville South holds untouched forward out front for Lakeville South, but they regroup out top. Maybe lucky for the Trojans there. Clavin blows a tire on the far side, but gets back up and battling with Prentice. Prentice tries to poke one through and nothing doing. All right, Clavin reverses. Holding fresh skaters. Rebound given up there. Maple Grove, I keep saying Maple Grove. Lakeville, they look like Maple Grove, same colors. Lakeville regroups and holds on. Here comes Kanan. Kanan works his way into the neutral zone. I got to bring the camera with, and here comes Kurth. Kurth dumps that in. You're good. Trojans trying to hold the blue line, but Lakeville breaks out, pushes it deep, holds up, centering pass back behind the net. Trojans look to exit, and that'll be iced, so I'll keep you here. 12:01 in the first, 0-0 early. What's that? Lakeville controls that. Trying to liven up another mic here. Oh, welcome to the broadcast booth. My African hockey expert counterpart, Jeff Munifering. Jeff, welcome.
Great to be here.
Thanks for joining us. I think you bring a flavor of street hockey, roller hockey that we don't see here. So I'll take any observations you have as Brown tries to exit one on a hard ice, cross ice pass as Kane and Brown and Homstall are in. Nice little breakout pass here for Lakeville South as Hasselfeld's in on it in a glove save for Mr. Buell in net.
Beautiful save there, Matt. I really enjoyed watching that.
Good shot and save. Mr. Buell, as I affectionately call him, stood on his head in the district semifinal game to punch the ticket to regionals just last week and remains hot. Pressure up front, nicely controlled by Hasselfeld. Hasselfeld looking to try to skate one free, reverses it, and it turned over a little deep to Lakeville. Centering pass goes wide, and good zone pressure here from Lakeville as the Trojans got to find a way out to the center, off the pad of. Nice little pass across goes through as well, and now Hasselfeld back battling behind the Trojan goal. All right, that exited out. Can't quite find the blue line and punched back in and saved. Rebound given up to Mead. Mead now has room, and he'll find his way through neutral ice and like a rocket into zone, avoids some pressure and dumps it into the corner and immediately turn back over. Holding the zone nicely is Jeffers, who waits, dumps it into zone, and Homstall will chase as Lakeville now looks for a breakout. They're going to find their way to neutral ice as Jeffers holds up again and dumps it deep. Forecheck pressure for the Trojans. Held for a moment and broken back out and turned around at neutral ice. And here come the Cougars. They flip one in, and a nice little glove save there by Buell. Kanan along with Homstall and Kurth. So we're rotating, I think, a two-man forward crew as Kanan dangles his way through, tries to toe drag one through, and that gets shut. Trojan defense could get in there and exit a pass. And all right, early blood here for Lakeville South, and another draw one as the Trojans chase deep into zone. Hasselfeld works deep, looking out front for Brown. Brown can't handle it, hangs on to the blue line there for Lakeville. We're going to try the near side, looking for LaRose streaking on this side. Up front for Lakeville. Puck struggles in the middle as Hasselfeld looks, tries to find he gets Mead in the middle. Mead dumps it to center ice, and that ends up back into Trojan zone. So what was a pretty even skate early on and a couple of good scoring chances for the Trojans has certainly tilted right as Lakeville South has controlled much of the last several minutes of the first. Buell plays that one back behind the net as Prentice plays it. LaRose pressuring. Lakeville plays on the blue line. That gets centered, and Prentice slows that puck down. Battle in the quarter ensues. Mead, along with Prentice, and a couple of Cougars work through it. Brown looking out front for LaRose, out of his reach, but LaRose is able to poke it to the red line. Pressure ensues. LaRose comes back, and he dumps, and he's getting a change as fresh skaters are coming in. That ends up at center ice. That gets waved off, and Buell plays it into the corner where there's a streaking Cougar coming. They find neutral ice, and Homstall now has room on the near side. He comes in, flips one in, rebound given up, off the right side, shoots and scores! Homstall to Kanan as a big bounce rebound coming off the Homstall shot, finds itself on the right slot, and second shot on goal for the Trojans, finds the back of the net. We even things up at 1. Yeah, I realized that whole first flurry of shots on goal for the Trojans didn't actually have a real shot on goal, and there's another one as Clavin rips one from the blue line, and that is snagged, and we'll have an offensive zone draw here for the Trojans. All right, so 1-1, and we are 7 minutes and 52 seconds into the first.
So that keeps his composure.
Maybe because of her. I'm probably
So Wilson to Homstall to Kanan, who put that one in the back of the net as the Trojans score. Kanan trying to work his way through again. Clavin comes in to help out. Jeffers controls, picked off out front. Tough spot for a turnover. Trojans struggling to work one out as well here. Turned and fired back in by Lakeville South. All right, Wilson finds Clavin, just scoots through Clavin's legs and out into Cougar territory, and they dump that, and Lakeville South will get a change. 6 minutes and 6 seconds left in a 1-1 game. Beautiful pass on the tape of Meade as the Trojans work that in, and a good poke check by the Cougars create an offside situation for the Trojans. So we'll come back out. Meade will take a draw. He is flanked by LaRose and Kurth. Kurth creates a turnover, pokes one through. Good defense, gets back on that one as Kurth did a nice job of poking that face-off towards the goal and couldn't quite chase it down to get a shot on. That ends up back in Cougar territory, turned around and poked into the bench here by Prentice. So that'll come out just outside of zone. 5:40 left in the first, 1-1. Cougars control the draw. They dump it in. Buell plays it, looks for Hasselfeld to pick it up. Hasselfeld has Kurth. Kurth has room all the way across. Tries to gets through Meade all the way to LaRose. LaRose tries to poke that back, and it's just a little out of reach. Prentice will regroup again. Has Kurth. Kurth has Meade. Meade with a little break opportunity. Tries to drag it with him into zone. Has a couple of Cougars there with it. And Prentice comes and he fires that one in. That goes wide right. There was a moment I wasn't sure if the goalie saw that one coming, but it was wide. Brown forecheck pressure coming. They flip that out, up and over the top. And that will be played as they're trying to take advantage of the speed of that reset for the Cougars, but it doesn't really work out as the outlet pass catches the skate of a Trojan. Trojans will regroup. Homstall near side works that into zone. But Cougars dump that in. Buell plays it off the side. Homstall now in a race. Skater goes down. Homstall there to recover. They flip one in deep, and that works its way around the outside. Ends up in neutral ice, and the Trojans play it right back to Homstall, right back to Kanan, but off the end of his stick and into the corner. D-to-D pass, and now the Trojans with space flip it back, has Homstall. Homstall flips in, deflected pluck as Clavin is on the doorstep. Couldn't quite get that one up off the ice, which may have created a better scoring chance. As Wilson back, he plays that out. The Cougars do a nice job of holding the zone there as they recovered and that gave the Trojans enough time to recover as Homstall regroups. The Trojans back at neutral ice. They dump it in, picked off by the Cougars. Wilson caroms one in, and that will be offsides. 3:09 left in a 1-1 game. Mead, LaRose, and Kurth are now your forwards with Hasselfelt and Prentice back on D. Kurth has a streaking LaRose, but a good defense back by the Cougars. Shut that breakout down. And now a hard pass across has LaRose. LaRose dumps that in. And that's going to pop out. Played by the Cougars, held in by Hasselfelt, but no, it sneaks by him, and now they've got a breakout of their own. Prentice, though, caroms that one back into the red line. Back to Prentice. Off the end of his stick, turns, curves, and the Trojans draw the first penalty of the day on what appears to be a trip back behind the goal as Prentice tried to regroup to save that little breakaway opportunity. So, first power play of the day goes to the Cougars here with 2:30 left. So much of the remainder of this first period will go by way of penalty unless they score an early one here. To recap that first lead, Brown and Clavin will be your forwards, and Jeffers and Wilson are your defenders, as those four will do what they can to stop the Cougar power play. Left alone up front. Nice little pass work out. Has a spot in the slot wide open. Swing and a miss by the center up front. Still parked in the middle. We got to probably come across and check him now. We'll give that shot up, I think, before the one in the middle. Good stick movement there, and that is snagged and saved by Buell. Really solid passing by the Cougars as they worked that around and got a couple scoring opportunities in the first basically 30 seconds of that power play. 1:22 to kill left here in the penalty, 1:51 left in the first period. Lakeville controls off the front. Jeffers battling with a player out in front of the crease. Working around their edge, Kanan on it. Kanan trying to scoot one free, and he has it temporarily out to Homstall at center ice, turned around by the Cougars, and they work that into zone. We now have Homstall and Kanan in at forward. They dance one in. That puck right on the edge and poked at the goalie as Buell had that stretched and held at the goal line and could not keep the skate on the pipe. And Lakeville punches one in with 1:15 left here in the first and regain that one-goal lead. (2-1) Cougars, even strength as the Trojans have a minute and 10 seconds left. Up front, Clavin finds Mead. Mead with room up the far side, pokes that through. Defender gets it. Mead all effort out front, and the back-checking defenseman comes in and gets a piece of that as Mead with a nice hit out front and a centering pass. Nobody home as Lakeville works their way back out. 38 seconds as they enter Trojan territory here, runging around the backside, looking for a change. Clavin finding a breakout, has lots of room to skate, and he will. Skated out into zone, cross the red line, finds his way into zone. Turns, tries to fire one, doesn't get all of it. It gets played back, but does finally get centered and covered by the Cougar goalie. Kane and Homstall and Kurth are your forwards now, with Jeffers and Wilson back on D. All set here, and Kanan wins one back to Homstall, looking to play one back to Kanan. In the zone held by Wilson on the edge, but exited out. Jeffers shuts that down nicely, looking for Homstall, back to Kanan, and that is the end of your period. So 2-1 Cougars. This will be a 1-minute break here, and then I believe if this follows district protocol, will resurface after the second.
Oh, your mic. There you go. My mic.
Yeah. You want it?
If you want to have a little conversation, fine. I got nothing on the play-by-play. You've been watching Lepanta, eh?
Back to my African guest here. So my first period. So what do you got for us? Little Minnesota hockey. I think you've immersed. You've been back for a week. You've seen some other Bantam hockey, I think, up in Sartell. You've seen, and then you went and watched a coworkers hockey. Was that some high school hockey?
Yeah, it's been phenomenal.
Yeah,
absolutely love it. I mean, I think, this is Hockey Central.
It is. Yeah, we are a week out from the Minnesota State Hockey Tournament, which is a spectacle where the high school kids will fill up the Xcel Energy Center. So that is that's pretty wild. You're about a week early. You'd have stayed a week later. You could have saw that.
I know.
Have you been to one before?
No, but I love the fact, and I didn't know this before, but how many ages of kids get to play in an actual state tournament? Like, they never do this with other sports, as far as I'm aware.
Oh, things have changed.
Yeah.
And even if they just call tournaments state tournaments, they call them state tournaments. But yes.
Oh, yeah.
This is a very formal one as a regional format. And I think our friends in Sartell are in Moorhead this weekend, right?
Yes, correct.
Kanan breaks his way through. He finds and scores! So ties it up early. Jack Kanan, who was, if I mentioned some illness earlier in the week, I don't know that he went to more than 2 or 3 days of school this week, but he saved up whatever he has because that was a wild individual effort, skating through the neutral zone, finds himself wide, and then picks a high left corner up and over the stick side blocker. And we've got a tie game as Mr. Kanan scores his second of the day. All right, the Cougars work this back into zone. So that was a assist to Brown. So that was Brown to Kanan, according to the official score. Out front, and that misses wide. A doorstep slot shot that went up and over the net, thankfully. That would have been a tough stop for Buell. Brown regroups, has Homstall on the stick, far side. Kanan feels it as he gets dumped. Ton of energy. He must have slept a lot with that illness because he is all over the ice as Homstall throws one on net, and that's covered. So that was, in basically the first 30 seconds here of the first. We got 13:59 left now after a bit of a flurry there, and Meade, LaRose, and Kurth are in. Homstall dangles that one on the blue line, ends up dumping it in, turned over here as Maple Grove now skates it through. They find it wide. They get back behind the net. He plays it off the backside wall to himself, scoots it out to the blue line and held by their defender. Pressured by Hasselfeld, and now Meade. Goes down deep, pops right back up, and Trojans there to help, but a loose skating Cougar in the far corner. They get pinned back up by Hasselfeld, and it is as much of a scrum out front. Has room out front. Placed up front, and a deflecting forward was there looking for it. That gets gloved and saved up top. They got a hand pass there. So that'll give us a fresh draw and a fresh 10 set of skaters by my calc, as Lakeville South will replace all of theirs. For the Trojans, Kanan, Homstall, and Clavin are in. That gets hung up at neutral ice, but Lakeville finally brings that in. It gets dumped into the far corner. Kanan up the far side, skates it into neutral ice, across the top, and Clavin dumps that in. That ends up wide, but just a dump in, effective nonetheless. And Lakeville regroups. Kanan on it with a forecheck pressure. Clavin now involved with him. Centering pass out front had Homstall close. Deflected puck up front, and a nice scoring opportunity again for Clavin out front. And that ends up wide as Jeffers swings and misses in a race for the puck. Has Wilson winning that to Jeffers, to Kanan, up front to a streaking Brown, who leaves it for Homstall. Homstall flips one in, and that goes wide and played off by Lakeville. And a breakout successful here as they enter the zone, dump one in, and look for a change as Hasselfeld flips one forward to Homstall, who turns and regroups and has Jeffers back to Brown, and Brown has a little room, tried to dangle his way in, and a stick check by Lakeville holds that up. Meade now in, along with LaRose. That played up to neutral ice. Brown regroups, flips one forward. LaRose looking for Meade, a little hot for him coming up the middle. He was directly in the vicinity. Little battle out front. Pops out to LaRose. Has Prentice looking for Brown. Brown can't quite handle it, and Lakeville plays that in hard off the back wall. You don't have to stand here.
This is the best view.
Okay. Lakeville turns, fires, and a bouncing high puck off a deflection ends up in the net. So 10:51 left, 2-2 here in the second. Pressure and shots on goal advantage to Lakeville South, but we're all tied up with 10:51 left. Homstall will take a draw. Kanan will be there with him, and Kurth. So Homstall, Kanan, and Kurth are your forwards. Jeffers and Wilson back on D. Jeffers battles back behind the net. A couple of skaters go down as that gets pinned up, and a nice puck scoots through for Hasselfeld up front. Hasselfeld turns, looks for Jeffers up front. Jeffers flips one in, and a deflected puck by Kurth ends up high and up and over the top of the net. But a good scoring chance there as that gets flipped in. Puck held in by Wilson. Ends up back to Lakeville South, and they have a chance to work their way out. Held up again at the blue line, but finally into neutral ice as a puck gets by Jeffers in a 2-on-1 or 2-on-none situation. Gets piled up on top. Interference as Wilson will draw the second penalty for the Trojans. The last opportunity was a cash-in for the Cougars. As the Trojans go to the box, they did interfere with a player in the crease. So 2-minute power play here, or 2-minute penalty kill here for the Trojans. As Kanan will take this draw along with Homstall, Hasselfeld, and Prentice out in front of Buell. That works its way near the blue line, held up by the defender as Hasselfeld makes a break at it. Controlled here by Lakeville as they work their way around. A high looping puck ends up over the top. They've got Homstall running out front, and a one-timer in the slot. Doesn't quite connect as he was a little deep there. We'll let them take that shot. If they score from there, that's great. Puck played out, deflected out front, on the doorstep, played out by Lakeville, out and around the corner again as players recover, and Homstall has a breakaway chance. Played up hard off the back wall as the Trojans regroup and have numbers as one of the Trojans got a change, and Prentice remains along with Jeffers, and that gets deflected up into the net. So the Trojans have killed just shy of half of this penalty, 103 remaining, 8:54 left in the first, and a 2-2 tie. Clavin and Brown will come in along with Mead and Jeffers. We've got a few extra offenders, and a deflected puck, I think, comes off a deflected forward up front, and 2 Wayzata penalties have turned into 2 Lakeville South goals as they regain the lead here with 8:48 left. So you got to stay out of the box. 2 of the 3 goals come from a power play, and Lakeville does a nice job with it. They've worked that around the zone really nicely and have found scoring chances. Found a deflection there, and that caromed its way into the back of the net. Trojans back at even strength. Jeffers plays it up to Clavin. Back to Lakeville. Lakeville working one out. That ends up high off the block here near side as Jeffers looking for Clavin. Too much of a deflection on that one as now Wilson will turn. Plays that out. Gets it to LaRose, and Lakeville will regroup in their own zone with a breakaway or breakout opportunity. Mead shuts that down. Ends up back and forth ping-ponging their way in, but a breakout chance there to Clavin. Hops his stick and remains at neutral ice. Jeffers finds Mead, looking for LaRose. LaRose turns, he gets it into zone just barely. Sam tries to regroup, that plays itself back to Wilson. Wilson will skate that in on the near side, trying to dangle his way in through a couple of defenders, loses it, but holds some zone time here as Lakeville will play that one out. Looking for a tip but icing, and that'll come back to an offensive zone draw right at the midpoint of the second, and the game for that matter, as the Cougars hold on to a 1-goal lead. Kanan, Brown, and Homstall are your forwards as Hasselfeld holds the blue line, skates one in, dumps it into the corner. No Trojans present, but now the pressure comes out front. Prentice looks for Brown, scoots by him, ends up back to Hasselfeld, and Lakeville now has a breakout chance. That gets played off, that gets waved off as there was some contact by the Trojans. Trojans looking for an icing there, as I don't think that touched anybody, but they thought there was a touch and no icing, and here comes Kanan. Kanan dangles his way in, gets cut off, and holds it deep into zone. Goes down and battles in the corner. Skates his way through, finds his way out. Prentice to Hasselfeld. Kind of a tic-tac there, comes across and gets played off by the goalie. Kanan turns, looks for a little bit of space as Homstall battles in the corner. And Lakeville plays that one out, and that'll be ice, so we'll keep you here as well. 6:22 left here in the second. Trojans down 1. So when you head back to Africa? Monday morning? Is that a Atlanta to Joburg flight?
It's a long one, man.
Is that your one? And you used to be in Amsterdam, a Minneapolis to Amsterdam to Joburg guy. That not so much, or just depends?
Shifted it up.
You did?
I like the long haul now.
All right.
For some reason.
Breakout here for Lakeville. Good pressure by Wilson as they work their way through. LaRose has room as there's skaters moving back. Meade finds a pass from LaRose, works his way up, looking for Kurth coming up the backside, but there was a back-checking Cougar that shut that down. Kanan finds Meade up front. Not Kanan, that was LaRose finds Meade up front. As Lakeville tries to break one out. We'll keep you here. That'll stay iced with 5:32 left. Lakeville will get a change. Trojans will bring a few skaters in. Maybe all of them. As Clavin, Kanan, and Homstall your forwards. Prentice and Hasselfelt at D. Hasselfelt holds at the blue line. Kanan regroups into neutral ice. Clavin comes and helps out. He carries that back into zone. Bodies his way into the corner. Centering pass out front. Nobody home, but a backhand by Kanan gives it a shot, but eventually carried out by the Cougars. Nice little toe drag there. Finds a little bit of space. Finally defended by the Trojans. Controlled by the Cougars up front and deflected high off a blocker and exited by the Trojans, but back to D. And a deflected puck up front played by a Cougar defender, and Kanan now out. Cross ice pass has Homstall. Homstall looking to carry it wide. Poke check away there by the defender, slows that pressure down. Held in, however, by Hasselfelt temporarily, but back to neutral ice for the Cougars. Cougars hold at the blue line, look for a player in the slot. Had a little space there, couldn't handle it. Comes back out, centering pass misplayed by the Trojans, but eventually worked its way out. As Clavin plays it, Kanan looking for it. All the way across to LaRose. LaRose flips one in. That is a save for the Cougars. 4:05 left and a one-goal lead remains for the Cougars. Meade now on the draw. LaRose plays that back. A little slapper gets gloved by Jeffers. Jeffers and Wilson will be out in front of Mr. Buell. Brown and LaRose on either side of Meade. Cougars control off the draw. Try to break out. That'll be ice, so we'll keep you here. 3:50 left and another offensive zone draw for the Trojans. Keep it moving. LaRose will take this draw. Give Meade a break. Controls temporarily, but mostly by the Cougars. But Meade works his way in, draws a little contact, and a scrum ensues in the corner. Reverse to the near side by the Cougars, and a breakout chance gets deflected, and that will be ice waved off, as I think that went off a Trojan shin pad. Played up top to Brown. Brown fires one across well out in front of LaRose, but Meade there to pick it up. Little ping pong from blue line to blue line here as Lakeville tries to work their way in. Not for long. Played by Brown. Back to Lakeville, and they've got at least 2-on-2 numbers as that gets played up, and a short-term rebound given up, but covered by Buell. Kane and Homstall and Kurth skate on as your forwards. Prentice and Hasselfelt will be in front of Mr. Buell on the blue line. Kanan on the draw, chips one back, controlled by the Trojans. Turned over, however, as Lakeville regroups. Center pass controlled up front, played out, or an attempt to play out by the Trojans, but held up by the Cougars. Dumped into zone and held as Hasselfelt in a tussle. Skates out. Has Homstall. Homstall gets dragged out, and the Trojans will find their first power play with a hook on the Cougars. So 2:25 left here in the first, and the first power play opportunity for the Trojans would be an opportune time to find a goal back and even this one up as we head into 2 minutes and 25 seconds left here in the second. Kanan wins it back. Hasselfeld controls. Back up to LaRose. LaRose fires that one in, and it gets deep and poked out by Lakeville. Finds their way out front, turns, wraps, comes around, and exited as a shorthand opportunity out front. Has the Cougars all over the Trojans, looking to do something with this power play. They've got 1 minute 30 seconds left and a short-handed opportunity held up, and that will be iced. All right, 1:24 left in the power play, 1:49 left in the second. The Trojans will attack this power play with Homstall, Kanan, LaRose, Hasselfeld, and Prentice. That hops the stick of Hasselfeld, and the Trojans have to regroup and re-enter the zone here. Wilson does drag it in deep, and Lakeville South dumps it back to the neutral zone. So far, an ineffective power play for the Trojans as they seem to struggle to control some of the passes back and forth. Hasselfeld breaks at the red line, and the Cougars dump that in. So 50 seconds left and no real pressure at this point for the Trojans. 45 seconds left in the power play. As Kanan, with a little room, will skate it in himself. Turns, dangles his way back in. Tries to find his way out, and Lakeville plays it out. Played up by Hasselfeld, and that gets deflected back. At least we got a shot on there as we're in the final 20 seconds left in this power play. And Lakeville breaks out. Back checking skaters come in, and Buell saves. Tell you what, you can't get outshot on a power play, and so far I think there's at least 2 shots on for Lakeville and 1 shot on for the Trojans, as we got 11 seconds left to make one last run with an advantage here and just 35 seconds left in the power play. So Jeffers skates in. He's going to dump that in. The Trojans will chase deep as Clavin tries to body up, but overskates the puck, and the Trojans skate out with it. And it ends up back to Lakeville. So that ended up being a power play that felt like a penalty kill. Brown plays it up to Meade. Meade skates that through neutral ice, and with 5, 4, 3, 2 seconds, that will wrap the second as the Cougars will enter the third with a 1-goal lead. And we'll be back with you in about 10 minutes. Sable Zamboni. So I hope this, I'm going to try to leave this here. I have to visit the restaurant.
You want me to watch? I'll watch it.
Are you guarding?
He went to the bathroom. I'm fine.
Have you been talking? Giving everybody a spiel?
Are you serious? Have you ever listened to this guy talk? Can I even cough and get alerted?
Welcome back.
Pony show down at the zoo.
Fresh ice here into the third. And 1 goal lead over there. 2 for Maple Grove. So Maple Grove is actually, I think I said playing after us. The matchups for this crew is happening right now. So Maple Grove is winning 2-0, and the winner of that game over Roseville, and the winner of that game plays the winner of this game. The loser of this game plays the loser of that game tomorrow morning at like 8 and 9 o'clock. So as we wrap up here, we'll get details so you know when to tune in the morning. But regardless, we'll be back early or relatively early to Cottage Grove in the morning. I suspect a win might let the boys sleep in just a little bit. Canaan will take this first draw. Brown and Homstall on either side with Wilson and Jeffers back on D. Out in front, Mr. Buell. Brown breaks on it, controls, dumps that into zone off of the stick of Canaan. Lakeville looking to break out near side, and they have a puck out front as Jeffers retreats back behind his own net. Pressure out front, and a good forecheck there shuts that down, but Canaan gets a piece of it out front to Homstall. Brown plays it in, flips that in, and that is a hard shot from the blue line. Gives up a rebound as Canaan breaks on it. Not quite in rhythm as Lakeville will break its way out. Brown then turns and fires a backhander in just across the line as Homstall, plays it. Jeffers will get a break as Prentice comes out, and Lakeville will play it. Buell plays the puck hard up to Wilson. Wilson to Homstall, and that will unfortunately be iced as that's just out of reach of Homstall. And in a minute and 2 seconds of play, a bit of back and forth and an offensive zone draw pending for the Cougars. Meade, LaRose, and Clavin in with Prentice and Hasselfeld up front. Meade will control up the near side. Tries to poke one through. That gets played out of the air by LaRose, who turns that around, chips it forward, but played by Lakeville South. Clavin there on it. Played up by Prentice. Prentice finds room on the near side to LaRose. LaRose off a shin pad of the Cougar. Finds its way into neutral ice temporarily for Homstall as LaRose has space. Dumps that back. It ends up out of range as Clavin looks to get a body, and Lakeville carries it in. Overskates it just a little bit, ends up back in the corner as Clavin rallies one around the outside here. Played out front. Lakeville has a chance at it. That gets dumped out. Lakeville holds at the blue line, skates one around. Has good possession off the stick of LaRose, but not enough, but does dump it out into zone. That'll get the Trojans a change. Lakeville out, across the red line, into zone. Finds a little room right, works their way through as Kanan finds Hasselfeld, or Homstall. Homstall holds room, played up and gloved. Another save for the Cougar goalie with 12:25 left in the third. Trojans lucky to be within a goal here, but have had some scoring chances to even this one up. Lakeville has a breakout chance here, stymied by Jeffers, chipped into Kanan and back in by Lakeville. Overplayed there a little bit. Out front as Kanan pressures. Lakeville centers, poke checked away by Jeffers, back to Kanan. Kanan carries, dangles his way in deep, gets a little bit of body out front. The Cougars work their way around, played off nicely with the body there by Prentice, and a skate edge goes out there for the Cougar, hits the boards hard. I don't think there was any Trojan pressure there. Centering pass by the Cougars up front. Puck covered by Buell as the puck held motionless there at the crease line for a while, and nicely covered by Buell as he was looking for a little bit of defensive help there. Meade now in with LaRose and Brown. Prentice and Hasselfeld will be your defenders. Hasselfeld with a flurry, trio of Cougars pressuring, finally recontrol that puck. Played up front, and a deflected puck goes by. Meade breaks in. Lucky break there for the Trojans. You got to keep skating here. A little bit of looking around as Brown holds up a puck on the far side. Tries to flip one forward, has it out to Meade, but that gets past him and out to the blue line and dumped back in by the Cougars. Puck out front. That ended up off a skate, a little dangerously towards our own goal. Brown with a pass to LaRose. LaRose gets it across the red line. Meade joins him right in front of us. That gets dumped in. Cougars regroup, hold the zone for a bit, but back to neutral ice. They've got room all the way across, and a nice pass finds a home. That puck misses just left, but the zone held on the far side. Hasselfeld and Clavin back and forth trying to find a breakout. LaRose now on it, tries to break one up. He skates past, dumped in by the Cougars. Meade pins his forward on the wall, but picked up by the Cougars, and Hasselfeld has room. Chips it forward to Clavin, and a change for the Trojans creates a one-on-one situation as a diving Trojan breaks things up and a puck goes high up and over the net. A good scoring opportunity for the Cougars as they hold pressure near side, and Jeffers does a nice job of deflecting the puck away. Wide open in the slot, turns and fires, and covered by Buell. Pressure maintained. I'll reiterate, the Trojans lucky to be within one as the Cougars continue to pressure.